Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with a nice new knife consult for you. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of interesting knives that come to us by way of We Knives and Ferrum Forge and Massdrop.com. So a lot of you are maybe familiar with Massdrop.com. This is a website that offers a lot of sort of group deals on some nice items, and they do have a section completely dedicated to knives and blades, and they've recently started actually sort of licensing their own products and selling them as collaborations with other makers, and they're using We Knives to do that. Now, this is a collaboration with Ferrum Forge Knife Works, which is really, really interesting. That is a sort of semi-custom mid-tech company, that churns out relatively low volume but very, very high quality pieces. I had a Stinger on my channel a while back that I had a couple of issues with overall, but I could see that the machining and everything was very nice and it was very high end. And so what they've wanted to do now is offer more of a budget option and a more achievable option for a lot of people. And these two knives were the answers to that question, I suppose. First, the Falcon here came out. This is a smaller EDC size knife. And it was, a lot of people liked it. It's very smooth, but there were some issues when it first came out. We can talk about that. And it is a bit small. And then the second knife is the Crux. This one just came out a few days ago, a few weeks ago maybe. And it's super, super nice. I'm very impressed with this one. So let's go ahead and look at these two knives side by side, and we can see what we're talking about here. So go ahead and bust out the ruler. The Crux is the bigger one, obviously. This is running about a 3.5-inch blade right there. It's got about a 4.25-inch handle, whereas the Falcon here has a 3-inch blade, and then it's got about a 3.5-inch handle. So a much smaller profile on the Falcon. I'll go ahead and bring out a couple of other knives for a size comparison here. Here is a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Here is a Spyderco Mannix 2. So you can see the Crux definitely fits more into a better size category. Look at the size of the blade here on the Crux and the handle size compared to the Paramilitary 2. That's amazing how they've been able to cram that much blade into that handle there. So that's really, really nice. I definitely like that. How about we pull out another sort of collaborative knife here with one of the Chinese companies. This is the Arcform Slimfoot. This one is designed by Jeff Blauvelt of Tough Knives and executed by Riot Knives under the moniker Arc Knives. Speaking of Jeff Blauvelt, check this guy out. This is the Dark Knight. This is a collaboration between, a full custom collaboration between Jeff and Elijah Isham of Isham Blade Works. Here is a Shirogorov F3, a bigger knife right there. And why not? Let's bring out my always trustworthy 0392 by ZT. So again, look at the Crux and how much blade you're getting for a very small handle profile. So we'll get these out of the way. That's really awesome to me. Let's go ahead and talk about these knives a little bit individually. I'll start with the Falcon. I don't know exactly which model this is based off of from the Ferrum Forge lineup, but up front you have a nice blade done in CPM S35 VN. It's mostly all the way flat ground. There's just a little bit of flats there. And then there's a nice harpoon swedge up front. It came extremely sharp with a very beautiful satin finish on the blade there. Something that people talk about that they don't like is this, and that's all the billboarding that comes on the back. You have to see Massdrop's logo. You have to see the S35 VN. I think that that could have been executed a little bit differently. I think that the Massdrop could have made a smaller little logo like Ferrum Forge did on the handle there, but I think that that's pretty subtle and it adds to it rather than detracts from it. The neat thing about this blade is that it's got a little hole on it, so you can actually spider flick this knife. It's very, very nicely done and very ergonomic. It's got a very big finger choil. Something that was an interesting design choice on this one was to place such a big finger choil up front. It takes away from the already small blade, so you're getting something like 2.5 inches or less of cutting length. And so you really have to understand what you're purchasing when you get this, and I think a lot of people were a little bit surprised or even disappointed with overall how small that blade was and how small the cutting edge was. But I will say that ergonomically, that's pretty magical. Your thumb fits right onto that groove right there, and it's a very big finger choil. Even for a guy like me with a thick finger there, it's going to fit, and it's really, really comfortable. So I do appreciate that. Not a lot of people are executing the finger choils the right way these days, and this is done well. This actually reminds me a bit of the WeKnife 605 that I had on the channel a while back. Very similar overall ergonomic profile. On the back of the spine here, there's some nice jimping. That's really awesome. It runs on ball bearings, and it's very smooth. The detent is the thing that impresses me the most about both of these knives. This is a ceramic detent, and it is dialed in. It is so, so nice. Very, very snappy action. I am super impressed with that. Works well for the flipper. Works well for the spider flick. Not so well for the thumb opening. It's actually very difficult to do that with that size of that hole and the detent. So really you're going to depend on those other two flipping methods to get this knife open most of the time. And so that's what you've got going on there. Moving back to the handle, there's some very nice 6AL4V titanium handle scales. It's super, super nicely done. You can tell this is very high quality stuff. I'm going to go ahead and open up my calipers here. We'll see how wide this knife is. 12 millimeters. 0.5 inches on the dot, so that's pretty nice. It's done in a bead blast finish, and it makes me a little bit nervous that it's just going to show a whole lot of wear, but maybe that's the point. They want to show that people are using it. It's a titanium frame lock with a lock bar insert, hardened stainless steel lock bar insert, so there's absolutely no lock stick, and it's super reliable all the time. Let's go ahead and bring out the Crux. So this is definitely my favorite of the two. Being that it's a little bit bigger, it fits in my hand a whole lot better. Up front is again S35V in blade, done in a beautiful machine satin finish. This one is a little bit different looking. Even though I've wiped it down a whole lot, it has some kind of a darkness to it that the Falcon doesn't have. I'm not sure where that comes from in the whole process of making the knife. So it's a little bit interesting, but I worry about, is there something wrong with the quality of the steel, or is it just the grinding technique that was quicker? I'm not really sure. It has a nice swedge up top. It's just an overall beautiful blade shape. This one I think is based off the Mordax. I saw some of the Ferrum Forge knives, and this looks like their Mordax model, and it's really beautiful. It has an interesting sort of finger choil, unlike the Falcon, which clearly has a finger choil on it, rounded just like that. This has sort of a sloped sharpening slash finger choil, and I'm not sure what to make of it. You can still get your finger in there, but it's not quite as safe as the other one because it's ramped a little bit aggressively towards the blade, and it's not quite as comfortable. I don't know how to describe it, and I'm not sure why that decision was made right there, but it looks pretty, but it's not the most functional thing. Again, this rides on a ball bearing pivot that's really smooth. The benefit of the slightly bigger blade is that it drops shut a little bit more smoothly. This one also has a beautifully tuned detent, snappy action. Super, super, super nice. Sorry, my throat's a little dry there. So this has also a titanium frame lock with a lock bar insert, also done in the bead blasted finish. This has the same clip. So something I like about the Crux here is that the clip actually works better on the bigger knife. It's interesting to me. I don't really know why, but something about the clip on this knife makes it feel not very secure, but it feels secure in this. Maybe it's the extra weight that allows the knife to sort of sit a little bit more securely in the pocket. Speaking of weight, you can pull out the scale here. The Falcon is 3.63 ounces and the Crux is 4.28 ounces. So both a little bit chunky, but very, very much within the regular EDC size. So these are very impressive knives. I'm really looking forward to seeing what Massdrop continues to produce with knives. I think these Ferrum Forge collabs are really nice. To be perfectly honest, I might prefer these to the actual Ferrum Forges. But I need to get some more of those in hand before I can really make that a definitive statement, and I most certainly will. So thanks for watching, guys. Click like and subscribe to my channel here. Head over to Massdrop and check out their offering of knives. Follow me on Instagram at Dr. Frunkey, and as always, guys, take care.